In this video, I invite you along to take a journey with us from Las Vegas all the way to Italy, right near Venice, and to London and back again during COVID times, Christmas 2021. Let's see what it takes to do that journey. So here we are, part one. This is a PCR test. Now we currently have to take a any kind of test to get into the country 48 hours before we arrive. So if you're taking, say, a 12-hour flight, you need to account for that as well. So it's actually when you take the test. So this is a PCR test, so it should cover pretty much anything. And now the problem is, if your flight leaves before CVS even opens, you have to get the latest appointment the night before, which could be 4:30 in the afternoon. When you tack on a 12-hour flight, then you're cutting it really fine, especially as these test results can take 48 hours to even come back. So you could be taking it for nothing, which is quite insane, isn't it? So yeah, it might just be a complete waste of time. So I think this is why it's funny to make this video right now. So yeah, that is called a drive-through pharmacy, which is absolutely ridiculous for the world we're living in, apparently. So yeah, we'll just drop the test off. I hope no one else takes our test out, which might be quite interesting because it wasn't really secured. But now our fate is in CVS's hands. If they don't deliver our results in time, we're screwed. But you know, again, the world we're living in right now. So next step, I suppose, to the airport. So this is our trip here, departing LA to London. You can see we land Tuesday, December the 7th at around noon. So here's a bit of a twist in the tale. Here's our trip from LA to London. You can see we land on noon, Tuesday, December the 7th. Okay, you see that? Guess what was in the news today? The Omicron. Look, BBC News. Check this out. So 8 hours before we land, they've changed the rules. You now need test before you leave. And yeah, just another complication. Okay, so despite that article in the newspaper, this is the government website. This was 4 days after they announced those changes. You can see there's transit options, which is what we're doing. We're landing in at Heathrow, flying out of Stansted, so we'll be traveling between those airports. And that's what's called Landside Transit, which is right here. So when you pass through Border Patrol, but you have around, usually, so what if it takes 26, you know, no one knows. So you don't need a COVID test, so you're free to travel from Heathrow to Stansted, passing around whatever you may or may not have. It says you don't need anything. It doesn't even mention about the pre-departure test. So you could assume you don't need one of those either, especially if you don't need a day 2 PCR. However, and here on American Airlines, you can see here, we can't actually check in online. We can't check in online because they won't let us check in without having a test. So they won't actually let us on the plane. So even though the UK have those laws, they don't explicitly say you need it for transiting. We can't even get on the plane anyway without one. And here's what happens when you try and check in. Something went wrong. So I've just come back from CVS. We're pretty much waiting on them for their results now. And then we have to download this janky app called Verifly that American Airlines, Delta and other places use. And they require a picture of yourself, a proof of test, proof you're gonna get a test. And for that you need to do a passenger locator form on the UK website. And they want more information. So it's like a bit of a puzzle, really. So we've got to create an account, tell them everything, where we're going to stay. So we need a hotel and a plan of where we're going to quarantine if we have it. We need to book PCR tests in the UK. We need to book them before we come back. So yeah, it's a lengthy process, but we will keep you updated. It's 3:54 in the morning. We're about to leave. Waiting for our Uber to the airport. Our lift, I suppose. And for that we will need a mask. Crazy COVIDs. We're behind some seats next to the window. That's a long story, but I'll explain now. So what we're doing now?
Standing in a very long line, probably for no reason. Trying to, man.
So yeah, we need a test. Our test hasn't come through, and it looks like the only options is $80 each, which take an hour to come through at the airport, but they close at 7 p.m. So after 7 p.m. you're screwed. Yeah, so they're refusing to check us in because we don't have a negative test, even though on the phone they said we could. I was speaking to Katie here and she won't even let us check in for our flight. So it's an absolute fucking shambles.
Not happy
Okay,
about this.
CVS have let us down. They didn't deliver our results in time because there's a backlog apparently, which doesn't really help anyone because it doesn't. No one can fly then. $80
Each.
Tom Bradley Airport.
$160.
What a time to travel. So here we are, we're about to get it done. We've got to wait an hour for these results to come in.
After paying $160.
No, it's right, unfortunately. I know it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. So just try not to move. When you move or if you scrunch up and like
Yeah,
that,
well, my phone died.
okay?
Maybe that was it.
My phone died.
There you go.
That wasn't as bad.
Oh well.
Maybe I sprint or she went diagonally.
I've been doing this for a year or so. It's been a very long time. Alright, you're all set.
Oh, you're a
So about
professional.
30 minutes, unfortunately. That's not the profession I'd hope to, you know.
I'm sorry. I don't have that either.
Alright, so about 30 minutes to an hour you'll get your results, okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay, both $80 tests came back negative, so therefore they surrendered our boarding pass.
Finally.
They released it to us, and they allowed us to get on the plane we purchased. That's nice of them, isn't it?
Get ahead of yourself.
So we landed at Heathrow. Getting in from Heathrow, very easy, wouldn't you agree? Scan the passport in, done. You just would not think that. So we're in, which is funny because they require a day 2 PCR test, but yeah, no problems. So we got National Express over to Stansted, again no problems other than wearing a mask, and now we had to show 3 bits of documentation to get to Italy. A passenger locator, which is from Italy, COVID tests and COVID vaccine, otherwise they won't even let us on the plane. So now we're going to Italy.
After we chug all these drinks.
After we chug all of these drinks, which is why we're stationed here. Okay, so we made it on the plane finally to Bologna, Italy.
Front row seats here.
Front row seat. Sounds good, but it means you have to put your stuff up there.
See, you got all the legroom. Look at that.
Yeah. It's like faux VIP. So we're doing portable COVID tests to get back home in the tournament. You can see there's a tournament. Here's the COVID test. It's 2021. That's what you have to do these days.
What is this? The angle should be higher. Turn.
Put your brain inside.
Right, day 2 test. That's hopefully the last thing we need before we're free again. We're all done, we just have to send it back.
Thank you.
So there's a special post box for COVID tests, and there they are. So we're done at last. So 2 days before our returning flight, I thought it'd be a good idea to have a quick test before you travel down to the airport, spend a bit of time and money on bus to the airport. A quick home at test. However, oh dear. A line on the T means you're in trouble. So, unfortunately, that's a very long phone call to American Airlines to try and get a change of flight. However, they will not budge on the super duper economy ticket we purchased. So this will be interesting. So we'll see.
All of our representatives are assisting other callers. Rather than wait on hold, we can call you back when it's your turn. In more than 4 hours, you will not lose your place in line if you choose to use this service. To receive a callback, press 1. To schedule a callback for a later time, press 2. To remain on hold, press 3. For more options, press 4. Your response was invalid. Please try again.
So, all day, speaking to American Airlines all day, no joke, like 8 hours or something like that. Every time I spoke to someone, they'd be like, yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. I speak to someone else, actually, no, you're not getting a flight exchange. All day I spoke to about 8 different people. I finally spoke to someone. I don't even know if they knew what they were doing, but we've secured a flight for 3 weeks from now. And hopefully that turns into this. We'll see what happens. And the flight change was free. The key word you're looking for is an exemption, a COVID exemption, and show them a picture of these, and you're good to go. Apparently you're allowed to do it, but they say it's a one-time change only. So exemption, that's the key word you need to drop on them. So free change, things are looking up.
Not far enough, huh? How far?
Right to the top.
To the brainstem.
It's so tickly.
As far as it'll go.
Oh my god, it
Gotta
tickles.
go right up.
And then twirl it.
It's making me need to sneeze.
Get out of there. Sneezed on me.
So we're just about to fly out. We'll get an express test for another £70 for our COVID requirement to go back to the US, and it has to be supervised, so we couldn't do it at home. Here we go. Thank you. Getting used to this now. So CVS, we told them we're going on an international flight. We just can't get phone calls while we're, going internationally due to the phone plan and whatever. They decide to call anyway and just ignore everything. And then we finally got a letter in the door, I think 2 or 3 days after we flew out, saying we're negative. So this was pretty much absolutely pointless. So CVS, middle finger.